Okay guys, welcome back. And this video we're going to be talking about these guys here, these new paints from AK Interactive. Well, not brand new, they've been out for a little while now. They're called Extreme Metal, and all I've done is just done a few spray tests and comparing it to our Alclads. These work very much the same way. You just spray them on, same with Alclad, straight out of the jar. Make sure you shake them, same with Alclad, that you get it all mixed up before you spray it. They spray very similar, they're sort of the same consistency. The only difference, and the main difference, would be that you don't have to have that gloss black coat underneath for this stuff to work well. I have had black gloss on both these here, but I've also sprayed it over bare metal, grey undercoat, things like that, and it still comes up quite nice. But honestly, you still will get maybe a nicer finish if you put it over the gloss black. But I'll go into a bit more detail with that in a minute as I show you these aircraft and the differences in the paints. But that's the stuff we're talking about today, and I'll go through and tell you what I've done with it. So the two colours that I've tried, and there is a huge range of these guys, just look around and you'll see them everywhere. This aircraft here is done with the aluminium finish. We've got aluminium and Alclad on that side, and just aluminium on this side with the AK stuff. Now I have to say that I'm just going to adjust the focus on this camera just so I actually can't at the moment, but that's okay. You should be able to still see this anyway. I'll get this up a little bit closer for you so you have a bit better look. Now the Alclad stuff on this side here, to be honest, is a bit more of a flat and realistic flat aluminium look, which is what you expect from Alclad. That's what it's marketed as and so on. It's not meant to be a high gloss. If you want the high gloss aluminium, you go for the polished aluminium or airframe aluminium. This side here, and just the aluminium with the AK, has actually come up almost perfect as far as I'm concerned for a nice aircraft aluminium. It's an absolutely gorgeous finish on that wing. I'm more than happy with that. It cannot compete with the polished aluminium and stuff like that, but then again, it's not meant to. This is just supposed to be an aluminium finish. It's much shinier, nicer finish than the Alclad. But again, the Alclad's actually marketed as being just an aluminium, not polished or shiny. This stuff here, again, is just aluminium, but it comes up with a much nicer finish. Just forgive all the bumps and lumps in here. This is only a test aircraft. It was never sort of done properly in preparation for this. It's just to show us how this stuff works. So that's that guy there with the aluminium. Now on this fella here, one I prepared earlier, I've gone in with the polished aluminium. Now as you can see on this side here, the Alclad stuff, that is like a mirror. That's an absolutely beautiful finish. If you're after that sort of effect, you're just not going to be able to compete with that. Maybe the only thing that, excuse my arm there, that will beat that is either the chrome or this guy here, which is your airframe aluminium. I'll just get this camera to focus for you. There you go. That's the airframe aluminium on the tip of that wing out there. And again, that is just a gorgeous finish. Okay, but that's not what we're after on this one. So polished aluminium in the Alclad, like I say, gorgeous. In the new AK Extreme Metal, that again is a beautiful finish. If that's what you're after, it's between the aluminium and maybe the polished aluminium somewhere. It's a very, very nice finish on there. Again, this comes down to artistic license, guys. It comes down to what sort of finish you want on your aircraft. But this polished aluminium from AK is not going to compete with the Alclad if you're after that really, really high gloss. Well, not gloss, but sheen. That's just like a mirror. This is shiny, but not that mirror effect. It's still beautiful, and it's definitely one to place on my shelf. Beautiful to use, and it's much, much more forgiving as far as putting it on too heavy or not spraying it at even coats. We all know with Alclad, it's got to be misted on in light coats, and if you get it wrong, it goes cloudy. If you put too much on, it goes cloudy and misty, it gets patchy and things like that. This stuff here, much more forgiving. What I've done, I've really flooded it on up here, and I mean, it was wet. I just really overdone it on here. And it's just come up really nice. The wing was coated on, and it's just very comparable to what's on the frame there. So very forgiving, very easy to use. So if you're just getting into metallizer spray paints, this is definitely recommended for that, because Alclad does take a bit of practice and your surface preparation. But again, if you're after this nice aluminium finish, you've got to do that surface preparation anyway, as far as having it nice and smooth and not a hair or anything in there. Just to find a speck of dust in there, and it will show up on any of these metal finishes. And that's definitely something we're trying to avoid. And again, forgive the dots and stuff all over this. This wasn't prepared properly. It was just to do this test. Now, the other thing you guys will probably be wondering, which I know I was how it reacts to taping. Now, making sure that it's set, I gave it a few hours the first time, taped over it, and it was fine. There was one bit that came off, and that was over bare plastic, so I didn't have anything really to hang on to. I left it for another couple of hours. I came back and just even straight off the Tamiya roll, taped over, rubbed down, leave it for a few minutes, and rip it off. Not a mark, not a thing. It's just beautiful. So it can definitely be taped over. I have actually put decals over it. Fine, no problem at all. The only problem I found is the same you have with the Alclad. You can have trouble with things like your Mr. Mark setter and things like that, where it will leave like a light, sort of like a cloudy effect behind sometimes. So just be very careful how you use it. If you're going to use the stuff on there, I'm not sure about the liquid sole stuff and stuff like that. I've only used this one on there, but just put it on the decal itself. You don't want it splashing and running off the wings or down the side, the fuselage or anything like that. Just be careful when you apply it. I have put a clear coat of Future over this as well. Now, like any metal paint, and we all know this with Alclad as well, if you put Future over a glossy coat, it looks like metal with a gloss coat over the top. It's just not realistic, and it's not what we're after. So what I've done, I've actually gone over it now, and the other aircraft I can't put my hand on at the moment, but I put a light mist over it, not a deep glossy finish. I put like a couple of mist coats over it, just so it had some sort of protection. Then went along and done a bit of weathering, put a decal over it, and no problem at all. And when I got clouding from my mark setter here, all I done was just a bit of water and with Future and just a brush over where that cloudy part was, got rid of it, no problem at all. Okay guys, so this stuff here, I can definitely recommend it to you. If you haven't been using metallizers for very long, or you're just getting into them, this stuff here, head and shoulders above Alclad as far as usability, and you know, like not making mistakes and things like that. You can use it much heavier. I don't know about getting runs. If you get to that point, it's obviously still going to have the same thing. It's not going to work. But like I say, I had a wet coat on here, beautiful. So very, very forgiving for people who are new to it. Now, trying to compare this to Alclad for those of us who have been using metallized for a bit longer is a bit harder, because while they do the same job, they actually have different finishes. So if you want this really high mirror finish, Alclad's still the only guy in town. Okay, beautiful stuff, and you're just not going to compete with it. Like I say, there's others in this range I haven't tried yet. I think there's a chrome, I'm not sure. I'll check that out later on, guys. But if there's a chrome, maybe it comes up and maybe it can compete with that. But at this stage, if you want a mirror finish like that, Alclad's the only guy in town. But for aluminium finishes, like just aircraft aluminium, I'm thinking this guy here, the aluminium, not the polished one, just aluminium, is just, that's bordering on perfect. That's really, really nice. The polished one, again, it's between probably the aluminium finish on there and the polished aluminium on here. So it's an in-between effect. So again, really nice. Now, what you could probably do with those sorts of effects is, you know, tape off like a panel or something like that, put the polished one in there, you know, just mix and match it a little bit, and you'll get those variations in your panels, which may work very nice. And like I say, the stuff sprays well, tapes well, you can overcoat it, you can decal it, so definitely recommend it, guys. But like I say, it's probably not going to replace your Alclad on your shelf, but it's going to be something else you will want to add to your shelf. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Okay guys, so that's that video. If you have any comments, or you would like to see me try anything else, or if you have any techniques or stuff you found with this, or anything that you want to add, please add it to the comments below. Send me an email, whatever you like, and I'll definitely update the video, or I'll post links to other videos you guys want me to watch and things like that. But yeah, until next time guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next video.